Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit. This is the Skoda Kushaq and you must have already seen the big smile plastered on my face. And the Skoda Kushaq in its 1.5 turbo petrol, guys, has delivered. It is by far the most fun to drive car in this segment, and I cannot tell you enough about how much fun this car is. And the segment that has been dominated by the Creta and the Seltos for a very long time now has a proper contender. I really cannot have enough of this car. This 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine, which by the way is the segment leader in terms of power and torque, with 150 PS of power produced between 5000 and 6000 RPM, and segment leading torque of 250 Newton meters produced between 1600 and 3500 RPM is a delight. And when it comes to drive feel, the Germans and the Czechs are known to put a big smile on your face, and that's exactly what they've done. This engine is refined and it delivers power and torque in spades, especially once you cross 3000 RPM. And to complement that power, you have the ever so reliable handling of a Skoda. So let's get started with this review, guys. First and foremost, the 0 to 100 time on this car is 8.6 seconds as claimed by Skoda, and the real world time is not too far. You'd be able to achieve that number in about 9 seconds. This engine is very refined, and talking more about the character of the engine, you'll start getting some movement from 1000 RPM onwards, and while you will have some movement, it won't necessarily translate into acceleration. It would be around 1600 1700 RPM where you'd start feeling a sense of acceleration, and thereon it keeps getting stronger and stronger. 2000 RPM onwards, this sensation becomes even stronger, but it's actually after 3500 RPM where this car comes into its own, and from this point onwards all the way to 6000 RPM where this car is also redlined at, it really gives you a very strong surge. You get a very pronounced sense of acceleration, and it really would put a smile on your face. After 6000 RPM, the sensation of acceleration slows down a little bit, and 6500 RPM the limiter cuts in. This specific variant that we are driving right now is the manual version, and we are glad that we are driving the manual because it helped us understand the character of this engine a little better. It clearly has an edge over the performance that is offered by the Creta and the Seltos, and what really complements it is this beautiful steering. Now when you're driving it at low speeds or even at medium speeds, you'd probably think that the steering is a little too light, but take it above 70-80 kilometers per hour, and the moment you turn it, you'd realize that it weights up beautifully, and that's when you realize the magic of these German and Czechoslovakian cars. The steering has a very neutral feel to it. The car doesn't understeer, it doesn't oversteer. The balance that it offers you with that beautiful suspension setup and the kind of precision that you get from the steering simply makes it a joy to drive. This 6-speed gearbox that you see here is a new unit, and while this is probably not the most smooth gearbox that I've ever come across, but this is fairly smooth. You can only very vaguely feel the gates while you're slotting in. It's not notchy, but it's not buttery smooth as well, but it's a joy to operate nonetheless. And I also did a bit of a test to see the gear ratios, and in the first gear this car goes to 55 kilometers per hour. In the second gear it stops just shy of 100 kilometers per hour at 98 kilometers per hour, and in the third gear it goes to 155 kilometers per hour. The top speed rated on this 1.5 version is 190 kilometers per hour officially by Skoda. In terms of cruising speeds, if you are at 106th gear, you'd be doing about 2000 revs, and if you shift down one cog at 5th gear, you'll be doing the same speed at 2500 RPM. The mid-range is exceptionally strong, and you really would want to rev this engine. It doesn't mind being revved at all, and it doesn't mind being driven hard around corners at all. The ride quality is slightly on the firmer side, not uncomfortable at all, mind you, and I don't mind that little bit of firmness because around the bends it really gives you a lot of reassurance. It holds its line beautifully well, and not just that, while you're at it, it's involving the steering is true, and you really would want to throw this car around bends. So for this specific segment, the new leader in terms of the fun to drive element has arrived, and the ones amongst you who want to buy their car primarily as a driver who want to be taking their cars out for a fun drive over the weekend, this is by far the best car to drive in this segment, period. It really is amazing. Also, talking about the comfort, now the suspension on this car is slightly on the firmer side, but I'm not complaining at all, because at no point does it get uncomfortable. In fact, it gets better and better as you load it up, and around the bends it really gives you the kind of confidence and the kind of involvement that no other car in this segment can. The body roll is very well contained. There is very mild body roll, but that has to be there since it's supposed to be an everyday family kind of a car. But having said that, this still is a thoroughly enjoyable car. In terms of cabin insulation, it's fairly well insulated, although I won't say that this is the best insulated cabin in this class. Above 120 kilometers per hour, you can feel a wee bit of wind noise inside the cabin. There is also a mild bit of suspension noise, which is audible only on rough surfaces, especially when the suspension is going through the rebound stroke, which probably can be handled a little bit better, and that noise probably can be cut. But apart from that, there is absolutely nothing that I want to complain about the driving dynamics and the overall insulation of this cabin. I really love the way this car drives, and this is my absolute favorite this point onwards to drive. A very important aspect that I'm very sure all you guys must be interested in knowing about is the fuel efficiency. And while the official ARA numbers have not been shared with us, you'd easily get about 12 to 13 kmpl within the city, and with a light right foot on the highway, you'd be able to get about 17 to 17.5 kilometers to the liter. So the fuel efficiency on this car for the kind of engine that you have on offer and the kind of power that you get is pretty good. It doesn't guzzle fuel. It's reasonably fuel efficient for this size of an engine. Now, talking of fuel efficiency, this engine, as we know, also comes with the cylinder deactivation technology, wherein 2 cylinders out of the 4 it has are deactivated when you are coasting. So that also adds to the fuel savings. Now, in addition to this 1.5 liter turbo petrol, you also have a 1 liter TSI engine, where you have 116 PS of peak power and 178 Newton meters of peak torque, which is significantly more than what you have on the Creta and the Seltos. To be exact, it's 34 Newton meters more, while the power is only 1 PS more. So the 1 liter also is quite a powerful engine, and this specific car also comes with a 7-speed DSG, and if we get a chance, we'll be driving that version as well. One more important aspect is the clutch action, and while this is not one of the lightest clutches that I've come across, it's not heavy either. And if you're going to be driving the car within the city, it's going to be reasonably comfortable, so you don't really have to use your leg muscles too much. It's not the lightest, but it's not too hard either, so I don't think it's going to be any trouble at all while you use this car within the city as well. All in all, it's the best experience in this class, and this engine is fantastic, and it has been mated rather beautifully with a very capable chassis suspension setup by Skoda. And just wait for the day when you get your hands behind the steering wheel of this one. I'm pretty sure that the enthusiasts amongst you are going to absolutely love this one. Now we are driving the automatic 7-speed DSG version of the 1.5 liter TSI, and the experience from behind the wheel is pretty similar, because it's essentially the same engine, just that the beautiful evergreen, fast, alert and intelligent DSG is at work now. So this would spell a lot more comfort for you while you're in the city. A small difference is that you cannot hold on to gears while you're driving with the auto. So even if you are in the manual mode and are using the drive selector to shift manually, in the manual mode it'll upshift after 6400 rpm, but it still feels very revvy and doesn't upshift significantly earlier. 6400 rpm is significantly after the red line, so it will still give you that thrill that you're always seeking for while driving. And the good thing is that you also have paddle shifters here, so you can take control manually if you so wish. And I'm really glad that Skoda have kept this feature here, so that you can enjoy the beautiful handling of this car to the hill. Now, one additional feature that you'll get here is that you'll get a sport mode, which you don't have in the manual. So you get 2 modes, a drive mode and a sport mode, along with obviously the manual mode. But for the most part, the experience from behind the steering wheel remains similar, and the fuel efficiency also will be affected only by a small margin. Time now to have a look at the exterior dimensions, the design and the features on the outside of the Kushaq. And would you just have a look at this car? This is why the Czech and the Germans are known for their designs. Just look at how tastefully this has been designed, and for me personally, this has to be the standout car in terms of design in this segment. Clean cut lines, very handsome, very well proportioned, probably not very intimidating, doesn't have a very strong road presence. Maybe the bonnet could have been slightly longer or higher if you compare it with the Seltos. The Seltos may have slightly brawnier appearance, but to me this looks amazing, especially with the dimensions and the relative lack of size as compared to the Creta and the Seltos. And talking of the size, in terms of length, this car is about 80 mm shorter as compared to the duo of Creta and Seltos. It's about 30 mm less wide and about 20 mm shorter, but where it loses its ground in terms of the overall exterior dimensions, it makes up for it by being 40 mm longer at the wheelbase, and that is the figure which defines the cabin space. So in terms of the length of the cabin space, this car should trump the other two, but does it? We'll find out when we get inside. But let's get back to the front of this car, and few interesting things that you would probably want to notice is you'd realize that there are no front parking sensors here, nor is there a front camera. So these are two features which are missing, but apart from that, it's very tastefully done. I love the way Skoda have used this chrome very conservatively, this three-dimensional kind of a look for the grille, the way this Skoda logo sits here on the bonnet, these muscular lines on the bonnet, these creases, it really looks very nice. And when you look at the headlights, it has an LED projector lamp with an L-shaped DRL, and you have these chrome strips inside, if you can see that, which adds its bit to make this whole headlight setup look beautiful. The blinkers, as you can see, are bulbs, and so are the fog lamps. These fog lamps have cornering function, so when you turn the steering, the fog lamp on the side of the steering turn lights up, and again these fog lamps are bulbs. Now when you go down at the bumper, you have a three-tone treatment. You have this body color, you have this black plastic, and then you have this grey color insert at the lower bumper, which has these slits and blocks, and it adds an air of muscularity to the front of this car. At the lower bumper, you also have this honeycomb mesh pattern, and overall I would really say that this has been very, very tastefully done. It looks strong, it looks muscular, it looks reasonably aggressive, but without overdoing it. I really think that the Skoda Kushaq's front looks the part, and for those amongst you who would be buying a car based on the exterior styling, the Kushaq is going to appeal a lot. There is a little bit of protection up front, under the front bumper, and at the rear as well. And now coming towards the side, you would be seeing these 17-inch wheels with discs up front and drums at the rear. This car comes with an electric diff, and it's shot with 205 section 17-inch wheels. Now these 17-inch wheels are on the top of the line style variant, and the base active variant will have 16-inch steel wheels. The mid variant, which is Ambition, will have 16-inch alloy wheels, and that would be a different design. Ground clearance, I'm sure you are interested, and it's about the same as the Creta, 188 mm unladen, and fully loaded it will go down to 155 mm, 2 mm less than the Creta and the Seltos, but it's sufficient enough to take you to some really bad patches, and there is no complaints there. Since this is an SUV, it has this plastic undercladding running across the car, and just look at the side as well. It looks very, very well proportioned, very beautifully done, straight lines with just a hint of a curve, with this bottom line rising up and meeting the tail lamps. There is this chrome treatment on the handles, and if you look at the greenhouse area, the lower part of it has been finished in chrome, which adds an air of elegance to it. You have this Skoda logo in piano black and chrome on the fender, and you have these satin silver roof rails, which are not functional, but they add a sense of outdoorsiness to the exterior of the car and makes it look more SUV-ish. On top, as you can see, there is no panoramic sunroof, but there is a sunroof nonetheless, although panoramic sunroof is something which is in demand, and we really wish that Skoda Kushaq satisfied that demand and provided that feature. There is a contrasting shark fin antenna in black, and coming towards the rear, you have an LED tail lamp unit but the reverse light and the blinkers are bulbs. If you look at the top part of the tail lamp, you'll see that there is this shard like design inside this panel, and it really lends an air of premiumness to the entire tail lamp. There is no rear fog lamp here. A few other elements: there is a camera, you have this chrome horizontal line, Kushaq lettering, Skoda lettering on the tailgate, and then like the front you have black and grey treatment at the rear. You also have these parking sensors. While there are no fog lamps, there is this little reflector here, and you have this high mount stop lamp as well. You have the rear wash and wipe and rear defogger. You look at it from any angle. You might want to look at it now. No matter which angle you're looking at it, this car really looks very well proportioned, very handsome, and very elegantly muscular. I really like the design, and what it doesn't have in terms of dimensions as compared to its closest rivals, it makes up with the longer wheelbase and with this beautiful design. This has to be the most tasteful design in this segment for me, and while you might want to differ, I really think that Skoda have done a fantastic job with the exterior styling of the Kushaq, which by the way is quite similar to the Kamiq. A few other details before we get inside. This car also comes with auto headlamps and auto wipers, and you have these LED blinkers mounted on the body colored ORVMs. If you look at the greenhouse area, the rear window is quite big, so there is a sense of airiness inside, and it does feel quite open from the inside. It doesn't feel claustrophobic at all. So Skoda have given special attention to the fact that the rear window is quite large and the rear seat occupants have a sense of airiness and openness. Another mention needs to be meant of this chunk of piano black that has been applied here, along with the piano black which is applied here on the B pillar as well. Time now to have a look at the key, and it's the familiar Skoda key, a Kessie key with lock, unlock and boot release buttons. And while you won't have to take the key out from your pocket, you will have to press this button to get entry into the cabin. Now, as you would have seen with a few other Skoda cars, when you press the lock button and you keep it pressed, the windows roll up, but that feature is not available here. So I guess some cost cutting has happened. Anyway, let's get inside the cabin and see what all features do we have. So before you enter, you'd be greeted by this plaque on the door sills, and it has Kushaq written there, and it looks rather nice. The doors open wide, and another important thing that I wanted you to observe is the sound of the doors, and you can definitely feel that these doors are heavier. The build quality here is stronger, and Skoda has always been known for that, and you don't miss that additional strength in the way the doors shut and the sound of it. Door panels, the quality of materials is decent. It's all hard plastic, no soft touch materials anywhere except the arm pad, which is leather. We have electric ORVMs which are electric folding as well, and the driver side window is one touch up and down, while the other windows are not. There is ample space here for a big water bottle, and then there is some space here as well. So this opening can be used to store a small umbrella, and there is this elastic element here which can be used to put a document so that it doesn't move around. The door panels are done in many materials. You have this off-white color here, black here, and this geometrical shape here, along with piano black and this dimpled kind of a structure at the bottom. So quite a marriage of a lot of materials there. Now the seat here is positioned at an ideal height, and even the shorter ones amongst you won't have any problem getting in. But as you can see, you don't have any electrical buttons here, so the seat is completely manual. You have a height adjustable seat, but you don't even have lumbar support. Obviously you can recline it, but it's a very bare basic seat. What I really like though is that it's finished in leather, and the leather here is perforated. There is very good under thigh support, so in terms of comfort there is nothing to complain. The cushioning is very good, the bolstering is very good, and the steering also, which by the way in its two-spoke form with chrome elements and piano black, looks very nice to hold. It is tilt and telescopically adjustable, so that part has been taken care of. Really appreciate that. On the right you have all the controls for the headlights. You have auto headlamps, and for using the fog lamps you have to pull it out like this. This is the leveler, and you also get a dead pedal, which is great. This here is the engine start stop button. Now the instrument console here has analog units on the left and the right, and here's the tacho, the speedo, temperature gauge, fuel gauge, and then the use of these buttons here is also quite intuitive, and you can scroll through all the screens very easily. So Skoda have made it very easy to scroll this dial here, makes it very easy, and everything is very easy. You have the controls for cruise control here, and it's very legible, very easy to understand. However, you don't have a 7-inch color MID that you have on a couple of other cars in this segment. You also have this all new 10-inch infotainment screen here. It is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto enabled, and it also comes with a valet mode where if the valet tries to drive the car fast, you'll get a notification. If the doors were opened at the rear, you'll get a notification. If the bonnet was opened or the boot was opened, you'll get a notification. So that's an additional feature. Apart from that, as I mentioned before, you don't have a 360-degree camera, but you do get a rear view camera with guide lights, and it's a wide view camera with the decent resolution. I wouldn't say it's very good. It definitely could have been better, especially knowing that this car is all new and the resolution of cameras on the new cars is pretty good. So I really believe that this could have been better. The audio system here is designed and developed by Skoda engineers, and I must say that this 6-speaker and subwoofer system is pretty good. It sounds very well. Only if you increase the bass beyond a certain limit, you can hear the bass not being very clear, but if everything is in the middle, the sound quality is above average, and you would really enjoy the sound quality here. You would also appreciate this little crevice here where you can put your cell phone or wallet, and it's been designed to hold things in place, so even if you're braking, things are not going to be going forward or coming towards you if you're accelerating. The touch on this new infotainment screen is quite acceptable. It's not the most high resolution screen that I've seen, but it's decent enough, and the interface is pretty simple. It's quite easy to understand. You have one color ambient lighting also, so while that is a good feature, other cars in the segment are offering more colors. And talking about colors and the features, let's have a look at the quality of the dashboard also. Now it's a 3D kind of a dashboard where you have this textured top dash, which is hard plastic, not soft to touch. Then you have this piano black with a beautiful insert of chrome in the middle running across the breadth of the dash. Then you have this geometric shape. It's a 3D kind of a texture, followed by a glossy metallic kind of a gray, followed by a black plastic, and again by a gray plastic. Now none of the materials here are soft to touch, and this piano black and chrome do try to add a touch of class to the interior, but I'll tell you what, the color choice here is slightly dull. It's not as vibrant or as rich as on some of the other cars. Also, you don't have any soft to touch materials here, although Skoda have tried to make it interesting with this interplay of colors and textures, but the overall quality could probably have been a little better. It's been finished very well. You don't have any jagged edges or any gaping holes or anything. Now the plastic quality everywhere, although it looks very durable, but I think you know, for a car which is going to be competing against the likes of the Creta and the Seltos, there could have been more soft to touch materials, and that would really have helped the cause of the Kushaq. Also, I would like to mention the headliner, which probably could have been of a better quality. As you can see, the headliner here is not of a very high quality. You do have a sunroof here where the blinds have to be moved back manually, and then the glass panel can be moved back with the touch of a button. Then you have these front reading lights. Again, these buttons here could have had a more fluid movement. They feel a little crude. For the non-sunroof versions, you will get a sunglasses holder in this place. Then if you look at these sun visors, here you have a toll ticket holder, auto dimming mirrors, and then you have this vanity mirror here without illumination on the passenger side. Now, since we are talking about everything, it's also very important to talk about safety. And you can feel that this car is very sturdily built. But what Skoda has done very appreciably is that they are providing electronic stability control or ESC on all the variants, which is fantastic because this feature is not available on all variants on the competitors. So we really appreciate that. On top variants, you'll get up to 6 airbags. Another very mentionable feature that the Skoda Kushaq has and no other car in this segment has is the multi-collision brake, wherein if your car goes through a collision or an accident, the car senses it and applies brake so that your car doesn't go out of control. So that again is a segment first feature and very appreciable. Some other safety features in the car which are mentionable are hill hold control, tire pressure monitoring system, rain and light sensors, ISOFIX child seat mounts, anti-lock braking system with electronic brake force distribution and brake assist. You also get brake disc wiping, which keeps the discs ready and provides for better and more efficient braking. You get traction control system. You also get an electronic differential lock with XDS and XDS Plus, which works at slow and higher speeds separately. You get rollover protection system, and you also get hydraulic brake boosting for powerful brakes. The touch screen here doesn't have any hard buttons. Everything is controlled via the touch action, and happy to say that it's rather easy to understand. It's very easy to operate. The AC works rather well. The louvers are sturdy with this chrome element, although they could have felt more solid. I have seen more solid louvers on Skoda and Volkswagen cars. The hard buttons here are for the AC control, and an interesting feature here is that the flow control is done using this slider here, like so, and so is the temperature control. In addition to the climate control, you also get what Skoda likes calling air care, which essentially is an air purifier and keeps the quality of the air in check. A very interesting feature that has been added here is ventilated seats up front. So both the front seats are ventilated, and that's welcome. You also have auto start and stop. Then you also get this space with a wireless charger and 2 USB Type-C sockets. This space can also be used for your cell phone or wallet or whatever else you want to put here. A 12-volt socket here. No electronic parking brake. You have this traditional brake. I don't really mind it, to be very honest. And then you have these 2 small cup holders here with the space for the Skoda key. The armrest is sliding, but it's not height adjustable, and underneath there is ample space for you to put a big cell phone or a wallet and a few other articles, and it's very useful. It's finished in leather and has this contrasting stitching. Looks rather nice. The seats are very comfortable, as I mentioned. The glove box is reasonably sized and has cooling function, so happy to know that you have cooling function in the glove box, and it has a very solid sound to it when it closes. So it's not flimsy. Very well done, very solid. What really would impress you is the steering, because it's finished so well, is delightful to look at, and is wrapped in great quality leather. It really is a joy to hold. And when you're driving this car, by virtue of the fact that this is the best handling car in its class, it really feels fantastic to hold while you're driving it. I really think that this is the nicest steering in this class to hold and to look at as well. From an aesthetic point of view and from a touch and feel point of view, I really think that while this has been well finished, the quality and plushness of the dashboard could have been a little bit better to compete even better than what the competition has on offer, especially the likes of the Creta and the Seltos. You have this Skoda badging here. And in terms of a few other features that we would have liked to see here, we could have done with features like a remote start stop, which is available in a few other cars. And while it's only a wish, not necessary, but now there are features like blind spot monitoring and HUD also. Although I really believe these features are not exactly necessary, but I have to mention it because they are available on cars within this segment. Now, in addition to all the regular features that you have on this infotainment screen, you also have this, what Skoda calls as Skoda Play apps, which is a suite of some apps which you can download here and install, and it includes audiobooks, bookings.com, Ghana, and Sijic, which is the navigation app. And all of these are a part of addressing a need of the customer in terms of adding more connectivity features to the infotainment system. Now, according to Skoda, there is 26.2 liters of storage space inside this cabin, which we agree, because there are many open spaces here, including this one, here, underneath the armrest. But what really matters is how much space do we have at the back seat. Let's go there and find out. Now, the rear door opens big and wide, so no problems there. And the door panel, just like the front, has an interplay of some materials. You have hard plastic here, but you don't have the piano black here as you had in the front door. These geometric shapes and texture is right here. Chrome door pull, off-white color here, and a soft arm pad here. And you have a big bottle holder with the speakers sitting right here. You don't have the chrome scruff plate that we saw up front. And the seat height at the rear also is ideal. Getting inside is very, very convenient. And if I can judge, the extended wheelbase shows itself the most in the rear knee room and leg room. There is plenty of under thigh support as well. So Skoda have not skimped on comfort at all for at least the side two passengers at the rear. And as per my judgment, the space here in terms of leg and knee room is better than the Creta and the Seltos. In the front seat back, you have the space for a cell phone holder, and then you have this back pocket. You don't have a seat recliner here, but the angle of the seat is pretty good. There is ample headroom for up to a 6-footer, so no complaints there as well. And I really find these seats very comfortable. I sat in them and I instantly found them extremely comfortable, and the suspension setup of this car is also pretty good. So if you're going for a long journey while being at the back seat, you will not have any trouble whatsoever. You also get this wide armrest with 2 cup holders, and Skoda again have not skimped on certain features like 3 adjustable headrests, 3-point seat belts for all 3 passengers, ISOFIX child seat mounts, rear AC vents, 2 USB sockets, although these are Type C. And the hump here is not too big, so the person sitting here in the middle can use this space for short to medium journeys. Although this being the narrowest car in this segment means that 3 well-built people cannot sit shoulder to shoulder for too long, and it would be a bit of squeeze. So this space is best used only for short journeys. But what I can tell you is that these very well contoured, very well designed seats. Now, while Skoda is calling it leather, we called up Skoda to confirm whether this really was leather, and they said that while the front 2 seats have genuine leather, the front armrest and the rear seats have leatherette and not genuine leather. They feel really nice, and with the seat back angle and everything, they would be very comfortable even for very long journeys. So no complaints here as long as there are 2 passengers in the back seat. The rear passengers also get these 2 lights, although again the buttons here could have been more fluid and better. They feel a little bit tacky to me, and the headliner, as I mentioned before, could again have been of a better quality. You have these handles here, and you also get these coat hanger hooks. So overall, in terms of the space and the comfort, I am not complaining, but still I believe that the quality of materials on the door panels could have been a little better. They are hard, and for a car which is going to be projecting itself as a competitor to the Creta and the Seltos, a wee bit more premium feel would have really helped. Now let's have a look at the boot as well, and opening the tailgate will reveal this 385 liters of boot space to you. There is a light here, and there are 2 hooks to tie bags with a weight capacity of 3 kgs, and then you have these 2 little hooks here as well. The seats are 60-40 split, which means that there is flexibility for you to extend the boot space, and if you put both the second row seats down, the boot space can be extended to 1405 liters, which is fantastic. And then you have this parcel tray as well, where you can just throw whatever you have in your hands while you're traveling in the second row, and it makes it very, very convenient. The Kushaq will be available in 5 colors: candy white, reflex silver, carbon steel, honey orange and tornado red. And as I mentioned before, it will be available in 3 variants: active, ambition and style. The active variant will have only the 1 liter TSI with manual transmission. Ambition will have 1 liter TSI engine with manual as well as automatic transmission, and the style will have all the engines with all the variants, that is 1 liter with manual and automatic and the 1.5 liter with manual and automatic. The easy way to differentiate these trim levels is the wheel. So for the base variant you have 16-inch rims with the wheel caps and a darker set of roof rails. For the ambition you have 17-inch alloys which are of a lighter shade, and for the style variant you will have 17 inches and they are two-tone, as well as the roof rails on ambition and style are done in a silver shade. The Kushaq comes with a 4 years or up to 1 lakh kilometers warranty, which can be extendable to 6th year or 1,50,000 kilometers. You can extend RSA programs to up to 9 years. You get 3 years paint warranty, 6 years corrosion warranty. You get part warranty until 2 years, battery warranty until 2 years, and 3 different service and maintenance plans are available for 4 years or up to 60,000 kilometers to suit the various usage patterns of customers. Now, one thing is very clear. Skoda is positioning the Kushaq as a head-on competitor to the Creta and the Seltos, and in order to price it aggressively, what they've done is they have cut costs in reducing some features as compared to its rivals. The touch and feel of some of the materials inside is not as good, but what I can tell you is that this is the best vehicle to drive in this segment by far, and if you are an enthusiast, you would definitely love this over the Creta and the Seltos. This just blows the competition away. Also, if you are someone who appreciates good design, in my personal opinion, this looks much better. It has a better build quality, and I would also go ahead and say that this has a better brand value. So if you're someone who likes to drive himself, you would really like the Kushaq, although the space inside, especially the width, add a bit of a premium, and the overall dimensions of the car are also very slightly smaller than its primary 2 rivals. I really hope that Skoda prices this car aggressively, undercuts its primary rivals by some margin, and then we'll have a car which will challenge the Creta and the Seltos properly, something that has been missing in the Indian market for some time. After the prices have been revealed on the 28th of June, the 1 liter petrol will first be delivered to people on 12th of July, and it will be followed by the 1.5 liter later in July or early August. Well, in this video I tried to be as comprehensive as possible, and I really hope that I was able to answer most of your questions about this fantastic new vehicle from Skoda, that is the Kushaq. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Motoroids, always put Motoroids in your searches while looking for long, in-depth videos. And until next time, this is Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.